Hey model fans, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to another video. And I apologize for the bit of delay in between making videos. If you guys saw my last video where I did sort of the collection update for the start of 2026, I wanted to make videos a lot sooner, but pretty much like a day or two after recording that video, I came down with a cold that stuck around for a couple weeks, really, before I was feeling like 100%. So I'm back, I'm feeling better now. So we're just going to start rolling through some of the videos. And in that video, if you did see it, I mentioned that everything that was new that was on sort of the table there was going to be getting its own individual, as well as obviously much more stuff within the collection. So today is the first of those individual videos, and actually a car that somebody commented about wanting to see on that last collection update video. So without any further ado, let me not point the camera at my face anymore. Let's get right into the car. So the car in question today is going to be my Ferrari 488 Pista model. But before I actually jump into the model itself, I usually don't, but I actually want to talk about the packaging that comes with it. So the box itself is pretty nondescript. As you can see, it's just a basic black box with just some stickers on it with, I guess, some like model codes, maybe some internal codes on it on this side. And then on the one end here, we have the 488 Pista logo. You have the color blue Avio, and that's limited to 5 pieces. And of course, the Ferrari branding up here. Now, this is a Dino Pro model, so it was a bit more on the expensive side. I'll touch on pricing later. But yeah, the box is a little non-discreet. It's just kind of a plain black box. You can see there's a nice sort of red liner in the top, and we can see the red lining around the inside of the box as well. So we have this little flap that when the model is obviously in there, you would pull the flap down and you kind of are presented with the car right there. Of course, it does come with this acrylic case that you could display the model in, but of course, you guys know from other videos, I already have a bunch of display cabinets, so I have a nice and safe solution for my cars already. But you can see there, nice clear acrylic case. All right, so once you get the acrylic cover off, which actually takes a moment because it's well sealed, so you know you're good if you keep your model in there. But yeah, we can see the nice white base on here, some red stitching around the side. Of course, your 4 screws that would actually hold the model on. And then the cool feature I like on this is that you have the plaque right on here. So of course we can see 488 Pista, which number of the 5 limited cars I have. You can see there I have number 2 of 5, and then we have on the left side here sort of all the info on the actual 488 Pista. Now this is all in millimeters, so length, width, height, wheelbase of the car, weight, what kind of engines in it, gearbox and everything. And again, hopefully this comes over on camera. But yeah, it's really cool, and I did look up the numbers, and they are the numbers for the actual real 488 Pista, not how the model car comes. So I think that's a really, really cool touch that you have all the information about the car that the model is based on. So to jump back into the model itself, after taking a look at the packaging there, of course, as I mentioned again, this is by Dino Pro models. So it is a high-end resin model, but this one is a bit unique in the fact that it also fully opens, which I will show just a moment here. So again, Dino Pro, more high-end exclusive model. Of course, as we see here, this being a 1 of 5 model that they made. So exclusivity, obviously, you have there. Now, of course, prices will probably vary, obviously, around the world with different regions, different money, different currencies. But as this model sits right now, I got it for $900 Canadian. So to go ahead and show you all the opening bits before we get to the rest. Now, this is as far as the front trunk or the front wants to open. I'm not sure if it's supposed to open more. I'm not going to force it given the high price and how nice this model is. But if I shine a light, you can hopefully see in there, it does actually have a properly sort of represented front area. And I'd imagine if I could find a way to get the front open a bit more, I guess if I really wanted to, I could store something in there. There's no felt lining or anything in there. It is just plastic, as you guys can maybe hear there, but still not super detailed in there. But again, the fact that it's opening and they included the proper front, I think is some points there. While we're still here on the front of the car, I must say the carbon fiber work on this is awesome. Again, I don't want to harp on it too much, but again, with this being so expensive, I would hope and pray that the carbon fiber is well executed. So you can see there the carbon fiber bit around the front where the S duct is. Of course, you have that full stripe that starts there. Now, one little knock, I guess if you will, is that the S duct isn't fully opening all the way through like it is on the real car. You can maybe see there is a little piece of mesh in the nose, kind of on the hood there, as you will. But again, all the other details on here, I mean, even the Ferrari badge, you know, the paint is well done. Again, the carbon fiber, the mesh in there on the front doesn't look cheap at all. The headlights are pretty much perfectly executed. And again, that stripe, which I believe is painted on and I believe is actually under the lacquer finish, as it would be on the real car. So it's not just like a cheap sticker or a cheap vinyl or something. And again, if I rub my finger on there, I know I got some fingerprints on here now, but I can't actually really feel an edge. So big points to Dino Pro for that. Moving back a bit, we have the wheels here finished in all black. Now these are not carbon fiber, they are just like a glossy black finish. We have the silver caliper in behind there, and I believe this car is actually based off of a real life spec as well, which is cool. Again, it might be hard to see on camera right now, but in the B-roll you'll hopefully be able to see the Michelin tire lettering on there, which is very well executed. It looks, you know, it almost looks like they just shrunk down a real tire for this car. Carbon fiber Scuderia shields on the side there, which is a very kind of rare option on Ferraris and a very expensive option as well. But I guess if you're going all out on a car like this, you might as well. Of course, as I mentioned, we can open up the doors here as well. So we can open up the passenger door. And again, it's going to be a little hard to see on this main camera. We can see even the seats are finished in a blue there with the sort of white or silver stripe down the middle. We can see on the top of the dash here, of course, there's the black mesh where the air vents and I guess maybe some speakers would be. And then sort of that other dash area is finished in a contrast blue as well. And go ahead here and quickly open up the driver's door just so we can get a sense of what it looks like. The doors do open fairly nice and wide on this, which is good. The hinges don't feel loose or anything, which is awesome. So that's well executed. The windows, I mean, it kind of is what it is. The windows on resin models are always what I would think of as kind of the cheapest part. Is just some like sort of flimsy plastic as I destroy it with some fingerprints. But yeah, the windows are just a really thin plastic. So if you have one of these, I wouldn't recommend playing with the windows too much because they're probably gonna break easily. So, you know, for the high price point, I would have liked the windows to be obviously not real glass, but like maybe a harder plastic, even like something like, you know, like an Auto Art model does. All right, so we'll take a look at the interior here, which again, it's gonna be hard to capture on the main camera, but again, I'll put up some of those B-roll or shots and some photos. And I apologize if you hear my cat meowing. She's just walking around under the desk where I'm filming, so don't mind any meows you hear, it's just my cat. But yeah, the interior on this is, I would say, almost perfectly executed. Of course, you have the floors there, which are basically just raw floors, no carpet or anything. Again, because weight savings in the Pista, basically the race car version of the 488. We have, again, the old school style Ferrari steering wheel with the red start-stop button. Of course, the Manettino. The steering wheel could maybe be a smidge more detailed than what it is, but really at a kind of sort of a quick glance, you're not going to notice that it's too bad. And it is still better than, you know, something on the cheaper end like a Burago model, of course, again, with the high price. But I think my favorite detail part on this car is going to be at the back. But before we get to the back, let me just finish touching on the side of the car, which is well executed. Again, you have some carbon fiber here over the rear intake vent. We have the little, obviously, notches for the door handles, the little spot there, which would be where you would put your physical key should you have any battery issues. If the camera doesn't want to quite focus, I apologize, but the carbon fiber side skirts, which are well executed. Look at the carbon fiber on the rear intakes there as well. But as I was just mentioning, I think my favorite detailed bit is actually the back of this car. Now, the Pista obviously drastically changed the look of the 488, and there's a bunch of detail on the rear. So, of course, we'll get to the engine bay in a second, which, of course, opens up. But the Pista, you had sort of the reworked rear wing for more aero, sort of had the cutouts on the side and made it look a bit more like a spoiler rather than just being like one flat piece. The taillights are very well done. Again, we can see how that stripe that runs across the whole top kind of ends right there at the third middle brake light. Again, carbon fiber details on the rear of the car. You can see all right, this entire line right where the Ferrari logo sits. Of course, 488 Pista on the plate. Again, if you ever forget. If we flip the car over there, we can see fully carbon fiber rear diffuser piece. Again, with sort of all the little arrow flicks in there. Of course, sort of the rain light, brake light. Fully flat underbody, as you do, because, you know, nothing exposed. You want the maximum airflow on the car. But yeah, again, the carbon fiber work on this is really nice. And it's upside down, I know, but of course we have the dual exhaust tips on the back, which of course feed out of the twin turbo V8 that this thing has inside of it. And again, just all the rear details are nice. All the sort of little like vents and flicks around the side are well executed. And then we can jump into quite possibly my favorite part of this model, and really probably my favorite part of any Ferrari, is looking into the engine bay. I think in terms of the supercar world, Ferrari has some of the best engine bays across the entire range. This one is no exception. Again, fully carbon fiber in the back here. So you can see obviously sort of the air covers, all the surrounds are in carbon fiber. The top of the engine is in carbon fiber. And then if you look way down, at the side here, you can sort of see that traditional Ferrari red engine block cover. So very well executed engine bay and rear end on this car. And again, you can kind of see the window back there. Of course, the Ferrari lettering right at the back. And then if I go ahead and close down this rear window, again, it's sort of that slightly cheaper plastic, really thin plastic, but when there's no fingerprints on it like there are now, it is very clear to see through. And also it has all the accurate venting on the side, as of course, as you would see on the real car. All right, so before we finish off, one other small detail I wanted to mention is that I like how they did do the shark fin antenna on the top here in the same white as the stripe. So it hides it a little bit. You know, obviously, if you step back and look at the car's profile, you do see that shark fin antenna sticking up. But the fact that it flows seamlessly into the white stripe of the car makes it work really well. I don't think it would have looked as good if they had done it even in body color or black or anything other than the white. I think that works perfectly. So yeah, there we go, guys. There's kind of an overview of my 488 Pista model. It is actually triple blue, so you have the blue Avio paint. The interior, the seats are another sort of lighter blue. And then you have the blue for the outer part of the stripe. So that's kind of where you get your triple blue spec. Again, overall, I love this model. Again, it's very unique to me in the fact that it's a resin model, but it's fully opening, which was something that I had never seen or heard of before I bought this one. If I can nitpick a couple things, you know, I mentioned before, I don't like how this and a lot of other resin models kind of use like a cheaper feeling plastic for what would be obviously the glass pieces. You know, the front and rear glass is a bit thicker than the side window glass, but I would have preferred that they use something thicker like they do even on like the Auto Art models for their glass, or their plastic to mimic the glass. I feel like over time, you know, if you maybe pick this up the wrong way or something falls on it, that's going to break very easily, and I don't know how easy it is to replace. And the other sort of little nitpicky thing, if I can say, is that I said it was fairly well executed, but I do think that the steering wheel could have been a slightly bit more detailed. You know, I feel like most people aren't going to sort of be looking intensely at their model, at their steering wheel. You know, it is much better executed than something obviously on the cheaper end, as you would expect, given the high price point, but I think it could have been executed maybe just a little bit better. So, you know, if you want like the most perfect model, this isn't it. But again, I think for what it is, for just like a nice display piece, unless you're going to be super nitpicky and looking at it, the steering wheel is fine. The engine bay, I think, is flawless. The carbon fiber work on there is awesome. And again, around the whole car, the carbon fiber is very good. I apologize that the camera didn't pick it up too well, but again, I will have put in some of that B-roll and picture footage so you guys can get a better sense of all the details on this car. Yeah, again, it's the single most expensive car I've added in my collection. I absolutely love it, despite those couple little nitpicky things that I just mentioned. That's been my review of this 488 Pista by Dino Pro Models. As always, if you guys enjoyed it, please give the video a thumbs up. Remember to subscribe to the channel to see more videos coming in the future. And I will see you guys all in the next one. Bye-bye and happy collecting.